Waklisi Galsasis Lemeschagi. Hello everyone, my name is Henry Rondo. I am young, I am resilient, I am indigenous. Culture is prevention, and if you are able to instill culture even from the youngest, little tiniest baby to the oldest elder, instill them a little bit of culture, it could bring them back to their roots.
Learning how much my ancestors suffered really inspired me to try to ensure that that didn't happen in the future, that I had a role to play, and it was my responsibility to ensure that current generations and future generations know where we've been, where we are, and where we're going.
It's never too late to start over and start new, and you have to want it. I am living proof of that. I have started over many times. Take the time to put in the work, and don't be scared to follow your dream.
My tribe, the first person to ever graduate from college was in 1996, and now we're at the point where we have potentially 2 PhDs coming in around the next couple of years. And I'd love to see more PhDs, more master's students, more nurses, doctors, whatever it may be from my community, because my community deserves to have those people. We're a very strong people, and we can get through whatever we set our minds through. I know I was able to, but also was through the impact of my community and knowing that my community had my back, and I want to be able to have their back as well.
The Dagelma language doesn't have any living speakers anymore. So when I was able to have an actual conversation in Dagelma, it was huge. I worked so hard to be able to do that, and then to be able to actually speak was amazing. And now there are, 30 or so people who are able to speak at that beginning level.
A common saying that you'll hear is we always say we walk in 2 worlds. So we walk with our tribal identity. We have this cultural history that is rich, and we want to preserve that. And our culture and our history is all oral storytelling. And so being able to video that and use that in podcasts, it's kind of continuing the oral storytelling aspect in a more digital way. So I am talking to our cultural leaders and recording them and making sure that we document the stories that they're sharing so that we can continue to share them for the future.
As a personal safety consultant and traveling and speaking, I tell a lot of the individuals that I work with that, could you imagine having to explain your worth to a group of people? Explain your value to a group of people? Explain why it is that you deserve to live and why your people deserve to be here. I mean, we're talking about the first people who inhabited this land, the original people, the original caretakers of this land, and we're trying to explain to other individuals who are in positions of power that should be doing that for us. And I think that's what makes this work really difficult, is feeling like every single space I go into is what I'm trying to do is explain to these law enforcement officers, I'm trying to explain to politicians or government agencies of why it is that my family members shouldn't have to die for them to bring attention to these sort of issues.
My family, we grew up poor, and that's nothing to be embarrassed about. It kind of happened. It was hard. My mom was single. She raised us as kiddos by herself, and kind of just seeing her struggles of, how are we gonna pay our rent? How are we gonna, pay for our next meal? Stuff like that really pulls on your heartstrings, and I think that's what led me to where I'm at now, wanting to give back to the kids, knowing that they might struggle at their home life, and just being somebody who can be like, hey, I've been there, I know what you've been through, this is how you can get through it. It's gonna be okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
I think as tribal people throughout history, we've been a very place-based people, connected to the land where we come from. A lot of our origin stories for different tribes express the people just coming out of the land, right, where they had been for thousands of years. And, our tribes, we were removed back in the 1800s, And we lost that connection to our homelands where, you know, our great-grandparents and our great uncles and great aunties are buried down there still today. We lost that connection when we were moved up to the reservation.